You need a makeover. Or maybe not. It's probably just that your nose is so big that you'll never be capable of being pretty. This was one of the very many horrible sentences I was said to in middle school. When I began the 6th grade, I had only been living in the United States for about a year. Maybe a little bit more. I remember I was still in the process of learning English, but was very capable of understanding all the mean words that were said to me that turned my middle school years into a depressing hell. Going to school sucked, but riding the bus back home was even worse. There was no teachers or counselors to tell, only a bus driver that's only care was getting us to our stops so that he could get his paycheck. Mija, why do you listen to such nonsense? My mom would say to me as her eyes were full of tears. Tears that came from anger. She couldn't stand the fact that she had to cuddle her daughter every single day, as she was intensely crying simply because she believed her peers, as they called her, ugly. Telling my mother just about my walk home from the bus stop was a heartbreaking hell. As soon as I was off the bus, all I wanted to do was run home. I wanted to run home while covering my ears so I wouldn't have to hear as the other kids yelled, "Ugly ass nerd!" Now, to be clear, nerd wasn't offensive to me. It was just proof that they were jealous of my knowledge. Ugly, on the other hand, was something I carried with me for a long time. I was called ugly so often that it became a part of who I was to myself. I carried myself with no pride. I wished I could turn invisible so no one else would have to see my face. There were times in which I even wanted to die. Love will never come to me, I began to tell myself. You heard them. You're ugly, I believed. Until one day, towards the end of my junior year of high school during track and field season, I met a guy. He was on the pole vault team. And he was so confident, it was extremely attractive. I knew from the moment that I met him that I wanted him. I thought to myself, you wish. He would never pay attention to you. You're ugly and you've known this since the 6th grade. But one day, as prom season was arriving, he asked me to go with him. He said, I am a senior, and I would like my last prom to be special. So of course I went with him. After prom, we began to speak more and more. It was like a dream come true. Only, we didn't speak at all. We would just make out at the back of his car all the time. And then, one day, we actually began to talk and got to know each other. He got to know me for who I truly was. He began to realize how insecure I truly was. And he decided he couldn't be with a girl like that. When he told me my low self-esteem was unattractive, I thought it was his way of covering up that he ended things between us because it was actually me who was unattractive. I convinced myself that even though I didn't want it to be true, it was my fault things had ended. Only if I were prettier, I thought as I shed tears of heartbreak. But then, one day I woke up and I told myself that I was tired of being sad, and that even though it hurt to hear, that guy was right. I could feel my eyes brighten up as the phrase, "How could you ever love someone if you don't love yourself first?" came up to my mind. From this day, I decided to turn everything around. I still remember the date. It was on July 20th, 2017, that I decided to try something new. So I begged my mom to take me to the hairstylist. And for the first time, ever since I was old enough to choose my own haircut, I asked to have my hair cut just a bit above my shoulders. And on this day, I felt a sparkle of self-love awake. From this day, I have learned to love myself and carry myself with pride. It has been since this day that I have felt true happiness.